And today's challenge is this 2011 Subaru Outback, 4th generation. And to be honest, that silver trim on the lower radiator support has always bugged me just a little bit. It looks a little clunky in silver. I think it would look a lot less clunky in flat black. Alright, although it looks like it's held on with screws underneath, it really isn't. Those are plastic clips, which come out easily enough. Unfortunately, it's glued on at the top, so this whole surface is glued on. You could undoubtedly peel it off and re-glue it. I'm just way too lazy to do that, so I'm just going to sand it down, clean it up, mask around it, and spray it on the car. All right, the right tool for this next step is one of these medium sanding blocks. That ought to be about right, which will allow scuffing the surface, which is important to get it to hold paint, and to also remove all the little pock marks it's gotten from rocks over the last, in this case, 180,000 miles. So basically, it's not going to have to be absolutely perfect because it's going to be a dull matte finish on here. But the important thing is just go over it well enough so that there's not any gross problems in it, so that whenever you do paint it, it'll look good. So it does pay to take a little bit of extra time here at this stage. Okay, just a note. If you really want to get these little dings out, you could hit it with some high build primer, which actually fills in the holes, and then go back over and sand it again, and that just basically takes off the primer where it's not in the holes and just leaves the holes filled with primer. So that would make it smoother, but this is going to get beat up anyway, so I just want it to look better from, oh, say 10 feet. I've just stuffed some newspapers in behind the edge, under the edge of the trim piece, which will keep the paint off of the backsplash there, the rubber surround that's behind it. Although that really wouldn't be a big deal to get black flat paint on that anyway. And I'm painting underneath a bit too, so I'll go around the corner. So you just want to try to get enough coverage that you don't have to be very careful when you're spraying to save the time while you are spraying. Alright, that ought to do it. That's going to keep the worst of the overspray off of anything that matters. I'm not going to worry too much underneath because any overspray just goes on the belly pan, which is black to start with and is not important and is never seen by the public. Alright, and do shake up the paint for the required amount of time. In this case, it's just a standard off-the-shelf garden variety Rust-Oleum. It goes on over metal, wood, plastic, pretty much anything. It's a nice satin finish, not totally dull black, but definitely not shiny, which is what I'm shooting for. Shooting being kind of a painting pun. So let's go ahead and get started on hitting this thing. And I'm going to start with long. Okay. Do a thin coat to start with. Get around the edges and get underneath. And again, I'm not worried about the overspray underneath at all. Everything down there is black anyway. Okay, one good solid starter coat. Crying out loud. Stop it. Okay, let it dry a few minutes. We'll come back and shoot it again. Okay, the prerequisite few minutes later, it's time for coat number 2. Okay, now she dries. Okay, now we do the unmasking, the big reveal, and just peel off all of the newspaper that was on here. And there's the final product. It no longer sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't look like something that was slapped on at the last minute. It kind of matches the grill black, so I think that's a great improvement.